In today's climate, nothing will make you a more accurate or confident shooter than Crimson Trace laser sighting systems. Get the immediate, decisive advantage of the world's only grip-integrated laser sights today. Shoot better. Stay safer. Crimson Trace.
Broadcasting on almost 200 great radio stations across the greatest country on the planet. Welcome back to Gun Talk, the #1 national voice in defense of your Second Amendment rights. What do you think? 800-825-5486 or 1-TOM-TALK-GUN. Now, here's Tom Gresham.
Oh, yeah, we're talking about guns. Long guns, short guns, shotguns, rifles, pistols, trap, skeet, sporting clays, 3-gun. I don't care. If it goes bang, we'll talk about it here. As long as we talk about using guns safely and responsibly. Now, we shot a lot of rounds this week out at the range. Nobody got hurt. It was all good, just as it almost always is. We strive to be safe and responsible, and we reinforce that. And you'd be interested if you saw us, and we're talking about some very experienced people at the range, how often throughout the week we refer to safety. I bet it's 20 times a day out there, just the way we're handling guns and holding guns and working guns and opening actions and all of that. It's just part of who we are. And I find that the more you're around them, at least if you get a lot of training and practice, you tend to be very careful, and the more you're around them, the more cognizant you are of the need for safety. Now, you know that in a number of states, it can either be state law or certainly in many places it is policy that hospitals and medical centers ban guns in terms of concealed carry holders. Now, sure, cops can carry there, but you and I cannot. Well, a most interesting article came out by Dr. John Edeen. He is an orthopedic pediatric surgeon in San Antonio. He joins us right now. John, how are you?
I'm doing just fine, thank you.
Well, look, this is a most interesting article. It is, let me make sure I get this correct. Okay, hold on a second here. The unthinkable, an active shooter in a hospital. What motivated you to write this? And I guess first thing is to tell people, you're not taking the standard view of let's put up the no gun signs, are you?
Absolutely not. I'm kind of new to the trying to do the political thing and trying to get things changed. And I only started this about 2 years ago. I went to the NRA in Houston, and then I went to the Gun Rights Policy Conference. And I met Dr. Timothy Wheeler, who has become my mentor, I guess. He's the founder of Doctors for Responsible Gun Ownership, and certainly a friend of yours.
Right.
We started talking about what I could do to try to affect policy. And so the first thing I did was I tried to get a resolution passed through my county medical society to support getting rid of gun-free zones, especially in hospitals. And that didn't fare too well. But after that, I, through the medical executive committee of the hospital, we tried to get a conversation going with the administration, and also through conversations in the doctor's lounge, with other physicians and surgeons.
Right.
And we had a very positive message for the administration, but hit another brick wall. So I started taking people to the range, nurses and other physicians, and I even got my NRA basic pistol instructor certification just to facilitate that. And then I also set up some classes with a couple of our local instructors, Ben Branham and Bob Main. Also, I started a petition, and I started circulating the petition, walking around, talking to people. And I found out that about 80% of the people I talked to were actually in favor of having concealed license holders who are staff of the hospital being able to carry. In the middle of all this, I went to the MAG 40 course, and that's when the shooting happened that I described in the article.
Okay, the Mag 40 is Masada Ayoub's class, so you have been fully indoctrinated when you've been to Masada Ayoub's class.
Oh, absolutely. It's an eye-opener, and it's a wonderful experience, and I certainly would recommend it to anybody who carries a firearm for self-protection. So anyway, after the Mag 40 course, I was kind of renewed with the vigor and this is pretty much right what I was talking about. And then I got a phone call from the CEO of the hospital on my cell phone that said, please cease and desist. You're violating the anti-solicitation policy of the hospital. And I got a registered letter and all this kind of stuff. So I kind of stopped and at that point and had to redirect my energies. Of course, this past September, I was invited to talk about gun-free zones in hospitals at the GRPC in Chicago, and had the fortune and misfortune of having to follow Masada Ayoub after he gave his phenomenal speech. I mean, he's pretty darn good, isn't he? Oh man! So I kind of told my story that I'm new to this whole thing, but that as a one person you can actually start making things happen. So, one of the things that I did was I wrote this article. This was back in October, and it took this long to get it published.
You said the San Antonio Medicine. Now tell them where the article was published, please.
Yeah, it's published in San Antonio Medicine, and you can find it at bcms.org, or you can also find it on the drgo.us website, along with everything else. Masada Ayoub was actually kind enough to cite some of the stuff that I've been doing and what DRGO has been doing in his blog in early February, and I really appreciate him for that. And I'm not the only person doing it.
Hey, John, let me jump in here because I've got a couple of questions, and we're going to be very short on time. First of all, what kind of pushback did you get from the hospital? What did they say when you're trying to talk to them about the facts about people with concealed carry permits are basically no problem, and they actually do prevent crime and save people? What were they saying? How did they push back?
They just smile and say, yes, yes, yes. That's very nice. But when it comes to actually doing something, they don't act at all. Even when you give them the information. And I think there's a lot of things going on there. One is the corporate. The hospital is owned by a big corporation.
Sure.
And the Texas law does allow them to give written permission for people to do it. So, and I talked to them about what my thoughts were on this and how we could do it, but they weren't really interested. They didn't really care. And the thing is, in the hospital I work at, well, the thing in the hospital that I work at, the security guards are not armed. They carry tasers. There may be one police officer or occasional armed security. And this is a 10-story building. Okay, it's a huge building with multiple entrances, and people can walk in and out without any problem. They have the no gun sign, which is the legal sign in Texas. But you and I both know anybody who wants to kill a bunch of people is going to ignore that sign, and we're all sitting ducks.
Okay, so what was the response? What was the reaction to your article when it was published?
Well, my colleagues actually thought it was pretty good. Actually, when it came out, everybody was like, wow, that's really good. But the thing is, we're going to have to get the law changed in Texas. There's actually a couple of bills right now that are up to actually get rid of the gun-free zones in hospitals and some other things. So one of the things that I'm doing is I'm actually working with some of the House and Senate people so that I can testify during their committees so that I can at least give the other side, because you know that the establishment, AMA and those guys are going to be saying, no, we don't want to do this.
And for those who are wondering what we're talking about here, there have been a number of shootings in hospitals. In fact, it's not at all rare for people to go into hospitals either to shoot, wives, lovers, people they're mad at, doctors they're mad at, just whatever, or just completely lose it. And you are absolutely defenseless in here. But not only do they not let you have a gun, they don't even provide anybody with a gun.
That's right. In fact, 10% of workplace violence incidents are directed at healthcare workers, and that's according to the National Crime Victimization Survey by the Bureau of Justice Statistics in 2011. So 10% of all the violence that happens in the workplace happens in hospitals.
Man.
I mean, it's not the fantasy, wonderful place that everybody dreams that it is. People are at their worst. They're under a lot of stress. You're dealing with life and death. And some of the inner city trauma centers, you're dealing with gang wars in the ERs.
Going on right there in the ER. All right, now let me look. I'm going to have to run, but let me ask you this: you're going to be at the Gun Rights Policy Conference in San Antonio this year, I take it?
No, it's actually in Gun Rights Policy Conference is in Phoenix.
Phoenix, that's right. I knew it was somewhere out west from here. It's Phoenix. Okay, you going to be out there?
Yeah, I will be there.
Okay, good deal. All right. Well, we will check in. We'll see you there. In the meantime, I would encourage people to take a look at the article. It is called "The Unthinkable: An Active Shooter in a Hospital" by Dr. John Edeen. I personally know of a number of doctors and medical personnel, surgeons, anesthesiologists, and they simply ignore the signs. They have seen what happens in the halls. They have seen what happens when somebody loses it in there. And their whole attitude is, I don't care. I mean, people are in there trying to steal drugs or going crazy. I'm going to carry. I don't care what the rules are. I don't care what the policy is. I'm just going to carry. I know they do. John, thank you for your help. All right, 866-TALK-GUN. That'll get you in here. It's open lines. Looking for range reports? Got a gun, a scope, ammo you want to tell me about or ask me about? Give me a holler. 866-TALK-GUN.
Brownells has always given you an advantage. With their huge selection of forever guaranteed gun parts, ammunition, shooting accessories, and more. And now, they're offering you the Edge. For just $49.95, Brownells Edge covers your standard shipping and any return shipping cost for 1 year. Brownells Edge members also receive discount expedited shipping and exclusive offers. Get the Edge today by visiting brownells.com/edge.
The XDM 3.8 Compact from Springfield Armory is 2 guns in 1. Use as your concealed carry gun with a compact magazine and use the extended magazine for home defense. Carry 13 rounds of 9mm in the compact magazine and a whopping 19 rounds in the extended magazine. To see the entire family of Springfield Armory XDM pistols, go to springfieldarmory.com. That's springfieldarmory.com.
Attacks happen every day. How will you react? See real people put into real-life criminal attack situations on First Person Defender. Discover what works and what doesn't. Kidnapping, ATM robbery, home invasion, and other attacks. Learn how to save your life and the lives of your family. Get the entire first season on DVD at shopguntalk.com. Get prepared. Shopguntalk.com.
If you're looking for a safe and trusted way to sell your firearms, look no further than Dury's Gun Shop. I trusted them to sell my dad's collection. They built their business for over 50 years on honesty and customer service. Dury's Guns will buy any size collection or estate, none too big or too small. Selling your firearms to Dury's Guns is easy. Go with the pros. I trust Dury's Guns. Dury'sGuns.com. All right, back with the 866-TALK-GUN gets you in here. One of the things we did as we were, and you'll see all of this on the Gun Talk television series this year, we were shooting 945 and 380, same type bullet, same ammo into ballistic gel, but about a 14, 15-inch block. The 45 exited, the 9 stayed in, the 380 stayed, it was penetrated to within about 2 inches of the penetration of the 9. And we always say how, the ammo is so much better now than it used to be. And so 9mm is much better than it used to be. Because a lot of the things you hear about 9 are still holdovers from 40, 50 years ago when they were using, what would it be? Using FMJs, full metal jackets. And now we're using good expanding bullets, and it works just fine. However, having said that, the new bullet technology is available across the spectrum. So you have good bullets available in 380, 9, and 45. So what that means is the 45 is still bigger diameter bullet going through, and sometimes often more penetration. 9's going to be bigger, better, more powerful than 380. Are any of them adequate? Can be. Are all of them inadequate? Absolutely. Can be. It's why we train to shoot multiple times if you have to shoot somebody to save a life. Anybody worth shooting once is worth shooting multiple times as long as they are a threat. It's pretty simple stuff. As long as you have the training. Go back to that study, the Dunning-Kruger effect. People who are incompetent at something tend to think of themselves as being competent. Man, have I ever seen that at shooting ranges? Holy smoke. 866-TALK-GUN. Line 3, John's with us out of Pennsylvania. Hello, John. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing fine, Tom. How are yourself?
I am good. What's on your mind?
Politics.
Okay.
Recently, the anti-hunting crowd tried to ban lead ammunition for various reasons. And the federal court has recently ruled against them, and it says Congress has not given the EPA the authority to regulate ammunition. Okay? Mm-hmm. In the same ruling, it says there is quite simply no sound science that shows the use of traditional ammunition has harmed wildlife populations, or that it presents a health risk to humans who consume game taken with such ammo. All right, it's that sentence that says, no sound science that shows that traditional ammo has harmed wildlife populations. Let's go back to the early 80s ruling by the Fish and Wildlife Service that is forcing us to use steel shot.
Non-toxic shot. Now, here's my question, and I don't know the answer to this. In this most recent court decision, ruling saying the EPA cannot ban lead core bullets, traditional ammo.
Yeah, it said that Congress never gave the EPA authority.
Right, I understand that. But here's my question, did that apply only to single projectile, i.e. bullets, as opposed to lead shot when it says there is no sound science? Because as you remember, if you were around at that time, in the 80s, there was a lot of science done on waterfowl, migratory waterfowl, ingesting lead pellets from the bottom of hard bottom marshes and such. So I'm wondering if this most recent decision took into account the idea of lead shot, or if it was only about lead bullets fired from rifles. Do you happen to know?
That I don't know. But, like you, I question that. Where I hunt geese here in western Pennsylvania, I'm hunting geese today, and next week in the same farmer's field, I'm hunting turkeys or small game with lead shot. And I don't think
what's
the geese
the
are
difference?
smart enough to know the difference.
It's a good point. It's a good point. I don't know, but, you bring up a very interesting question. I'm going to ask, who will know? The guys at the NSSF, National Shooting Sports Foundation, because they are all on top of this battle to ban traditional ammunition. I'm going to ask them if this opens the door to revisit the requirement to use non-toxic shot as opposed to lead shot when hunting waterfowl. And in some places now they require non-toxic shot for other species if you're in quote-unquote sensitive areas. But I'll find out. That's a very interesting question, John. I appreciate you bringing that up. Let's talk to Dale. He's on too. He's down in Pensacola, Florida. Hey, Dale, you're on Gun Talk.
Hey, Tom, how are you today?
I am good.
Congratulations on your 20 years. It's been enjoyable, and I hope we can go that much longer again, plus more.
Well, thank you so much.
My question was, did you see the recent film footage of the Huey P. Newton Gun Club and their open carry march at the South by Southwest Festival in Austin, Texas?
Fairly interesting, huh?
Yeah. From what I understand, hearing what people who were there at the family festival said, it was quite menacing, and some of the talk was very disturbing, and to see that they had children out there with them, too. It really didn't do much for a gun owner's image.
Well, I want to go like 3 different directions all at once on this. First of all, if they had not been part of the Black Panther Party, open carrying, if they had been, let's just get to the cut to the chase, if been white guys open carrying, would you feel differently about it?
Well, I think anybody that was open carrying, making these statements of, oink, oink, bang, bang, walking down the avenue, 20 more pigs and we'll be through, anybody, I don't care what color they are, doing that with an open carry on a gun would kind of cause me disturbance.
Agree. So it's not the fact that they're carrying guns, but rather the behavior while they're carrying guns, calling for killing and murdering police officers, part of this whole, what do we want dead cops chant that we've seen so many places now. So it's not the fact that these folks were carrying open carrying firearms. It's the menacing statements that go along with it. I agree with you. I understand what you're saying there. I understand now. Remember, this becomes so political. In part of this, we bring in the whole Eric Holder deal, where he refused to prosecute the Black Panthers, who were intimidating voters right next to the voting places as they had their baseball bats. There's a whole thing going on here of people who want to openly advocate for the murder of police officers. Now, let me put this thought in your head. Given that police officers know about this, given that police officers are being killed or shot during traffic stops, do not take that into account when an officer pulls you over for a traffic violation, for speeding, that if he or she is very, very careful when they come up to your car or ask you to get out of the car, understand it, put it into perspective of there are people who are not only calling for their murder, there are people who are killing them and want that to happen more. So it's something for you to think about.
Covering all aspects of gun ownership every week on this fine radio station. You're listening to Gun Talk with Tom Gresham.
All righty, back with you, 866-TALK-GUN. Line 3, Susan's with us out of Austin, Texas. Susan, welcome to Gun Talk.
Hello. Hi, Tom.
Hi there. Hey.
Hi there. The reason I was calling is that I wanted to ask you, does Mr. Mayoud, I don't think I'm pronouncing his name right. Massad Ayub?
Massad Ayub.
Yes. Does he have classes for women that are like my age, 60 and over? Maybe we might have a little bit of a disability, and we need to learn how to protect ourselves.
Oh, absolutely. He can do that, but also there are a lot of good trainers around who can work with women especially, and people who are over 60 and may not be able to run and flop on the ground and all that stuff. I mean, frankly, exactly. most self-defense classes don't include any of that stuff anyway, and they don't have to. Now, you get into a very involved class, and some of them may have you shooting like that, but generally it's drawing a gun and shooting, or pulling a gun from a person shooting, learning how to work your gun or manipulate it, maybe take it a step or two, and then maybe in another class you might learn how to move through a house carefully and use the corners to your advantage and that type of thing. But yeah, you don't have to be, super tactical SWAT team type person to do this stuff.
Oh, good. Well, I started my own business last year here in Austin.
Really?
Yes, I am a firearms instructor, a CHL instructor, and NRA pistol and rifle instructor. I was 60 years old when I started it, And I've been helping people, especially women my age, that say, gee, I'm afraid of a gun, I don't want to use a gun, to get them to take personal protection seriously for themselves, especially someone like me that doesn't get around as quickly as I used to.
Sure.
And
well, that's wonderful. All right, I got to ask you a question, Susan.
Sure.
Okay, you're a new instructor. What kind of shooting experience did you have before you got into this? Had you been shooting for a long time?
Well, I used to be I was in the military for 8 years. So there we only shot rifles, as you know. And then my husband and I were in we're private security officers from 2001 to 2004. We left New York a week after 9/11. Time to get out of Dodge and get down here to Texas. And I had been training for several years with pistols and handguns. So, and I took that training seriously. I trained from anyone that would teach me.
Good.
And I became an instructor. So,
okay, what's the name of your business?
It's called Serenity Ballistics.
And you're located in Austin?
Yep, I do have a website.
Okay, cool.
I wanted women to feel safe once they learned how to shoot and learned how to handle a gun, firearm, that they would be comfortable with it and be able to come back for classes with me.
What is the biggest challenge you have when you have a woman that comes in and wants to learn? It says, look, I'm worried. A friend of mine got attacked or whatever. I was assaulted. I want to have a gun for self-defense. And they walk in with not much experience and probably a lot of misconceptions. What do you run into? What's the biggest challenge you have?
The biggest challenge I think I have is getting them to get over the fear of the gun itself. The more they know about that gun, that it's not going to go off unless you put your finger on that trigger. And we do a lot of dry firing. We do a lot of taking the gun apart and learning the inner workings of a gun, especially, and I don't want to pigeonhole people saying, well, you're an older woman, you need a revolver. You can't handle we don't do that at all, all. And I have all kinds of different guns, and I have all kinds of different calibers, and get them comfortable with shooting. We take them to the range, even if it's just one bullet at a time. They get to load and unload that gun and feel very comfortable with it. I want it to be an extension of their hand.
Now, have you ever had to undo the training that someone, with air quotes around the training, that somebody got from their boyfriend or husband or something?
No, I haven't run into that yet.
Okay,
I'm not saying I probably wouldn't, but no, I haven't really run into that. They start with me.
That's a good thing.
We start from scratch.
Okay, sounds great. What are the sizes of your classes generally?
I've had classes as small as 1 or 2 people up to 12 and 15. 12 to 15 people at a time. When I have 15 people, then a friend of mine acts as an RSO on the range, and my range is safe. Otherwise, someone doesn't come on my range. That's the way it works.
There you go. Yeah, range safety officer, RSO. Well, look, congratulations on the business, on the effort, on getting out there. You know, that is really terrific. Serenity Ballistics in Austin, Texas. I appreciate what you're doing, and I wish you luck with it, and carry on. Good job. All righty. Have you thought about going and taking some instruction somewhere beyond your concealed carry class? If you have any questions about that, give me a call. We can talk about what you might do, the things you might need to learn. I mean, you don't have to become a SWAT person or any of that, but there are some things that you need to know beyond, I'm telling you, beyond your concealed carry class. That's why we put out our DVDs, Concealed Carry 1 and Concealed Carry 2. If you'd like to get those, at least to get you started, you go to shopguntalk.com, shopguntalk.com, and you can pick up those DVDs. 866-TALK-GUN. Be right back.
Introducing your new best friend in home defense, Guard Dog from Federal Premium Ammunition. With low recoil and reliable feeding, Guard Dog is all the protection you need. Guard Dog features a patented full metal jacket construction with an expanding polymer which minimizes overpenetration through interior walls. This dog's got bark and bite. Protect your home and family with Guard Dog Home Defense from Federal Premium Ammunition.
Hi, I'm Tom Gresham. For more than 40 years, I've been watching an environmental disaster in my backyard, and it actually impacts all sportsmen in America. I'm talking about the massive loss of land on the Louisiana coastline. The U.S. Geological Survey said the swamps and marshes of coastal Louisiana are among the nation's most fragile and valuable wetlands. That land is disappearing. The Mississippi River Delta hosts as many as 10 million ducks and geese every winter. These are birds which migrate northward through the states, all the way to Canada. The wetlands of the Delta support some of America's best fresh and saltwater fishing. And here's the deal. The wetlands of the Mississippi River Delta are disappearing at a rate of 1 football field every hour. 1 football field every hour. Gone. We can reconnect the river with its wetlands and restore the Delta, but we need your help. Please visit vanishingparadise.org. That's vanishingparadise.org.
In the war on terror, fighting crime in the streets, in competition and homes around the world, one name in firearms stands out: Sig Sauer. Our pistols and rifles are renowned for their unfailing performance. This same commitment to excellence can be found in our line of SigTac accessories and the training offered by the Sig Sauer Academy. For unmatched quality, reliability, and innovation when it counts, choose Sig Sauer. Visit sigsauer.com today.
I mentioned that we were at the range this week shooting TV for GUNTALK TV, which the new season of, well, it's currently running right now on the Sportsman Channel. The new season starts on Pursuit Channel in July. One of the pieces we were doing was, well, actually doing a whole show about recoil. And just to kind of give you an idea of recoil, we shot some little bitty guns and some big guns. We shot like a 3.0. What did we do? Oh, one thing we compared a very lightweight single-shot 45-70 with heavy loads, and a really heavy bull barrel rifle in 22-250. Just almost no recoil at all there. But just to give you some numbers here, a 223 rifle shooting a 55-grain bullet at 3,000 feet per second. If the rifle weighs 7 pounds, recoil is 4.2 foot-pounds of energy. It's nothing. That's why 223 doesn't kick. It's just nothing. Let's jump it up to a 308. 308. 150 grain bullet at 2,700 feet per second, you're looking at about 14 foot-pounds of energy. So if you know what a 308 feels like, that's about 14 foot-pounds of energy. Jump up to a 300 Magnum. Big kicker, right? 300 Magnum, 180 grain bullet at 3,000 feet per second. Let's assume a 9-pound rifle. You're going to get a full 22 foot-pounds of energy. Sounds like a lot. It is a lot. Shoot a 300 Magnum. Nothing. We shot a 505 Gibbs. Mike McNett brought his personal 505 Gibbs. 600 grain bullet. And 150 grains of powder. And you have to add the projectile and the powder together. So you actually have 750 grains of stuff going out the barrel at 2,100 feet per second. And I'm not sure what the rifle weighed, but I'm going to cheat up and give it, say it was 10 pounds. It did not have a scope on it, okay? 600 grain bullet, 150 grains of powder, 2,100 feet per second, 10-pound rifle. Now remember, the 300 Magnum was 22 foot-pounds of energy for recoil. This one is 109 foot-pounds of energy recoil. Big old Chris Sereno was shooting with us. He shot that rifle, and when he shot it, he could not stand in one place. He had to take a step back. It knocked him off his feet. If he hadn't stepped back, he would have fallen down. 109 foot-pounds of energy. Interesting, and you want to do it once, maybe twice. It's also $17 per round when you torch it off. Holy cow, what fun. But man, that's some good TV. And wait till you see the slow motion of this stuff. We shot slow motion of everything. Let's talk to Dennis on line one. He's in California. Dennis, you got a question on cross dominant. What you got?
Tom, I got a young son who I want to introduce to the shooting sports. He hasn't started shooting yet or anything like that. But when I do it, I'm almost positive he's cross-dominant. I am. It's funny how it seems to be pretty inherent. I mean, I guess it's not funny, but it's amazing. I am. My brother is. I didn't know it when I learned to shoot, and I still shoot cross. I've been able to overcome it. But I know you are. I watch your shows. It looks like your son is, Ryan. And I wonder, how did you do it? It sounds like your dad started you from the get-go, but do you have any tips for me? Again, he hasn't learned anything yet. Doesn't know anything other than Eddie Eagle. So,
Okay. How old is he?
He's only 5 now, and I'm not even sure he'll get introduced yet. So I just want to get it started correctly.
Perfect. You're in the right place. The right question at the right time.
Good.
I was very fortunate. My dad spotted that I was left eye dominant, but right-handed very early on. My son is. My daughter is. Probably some 35 or 40% of the people are left eye dominant. So here's what you do. I would say, start him off shooting handguns right-handed and long guns left-handed. As simple as that. All long guns go to the left shoulder, and you simply start him that way. So he always uses the left eye for long guns. It's no problem shooting right-handed on a handgun using the left eye. And here's the trick. Some people want to tilt their head over to the right to line up the left eye. Don't let him do that. Instead of tilting the head, turn the nose about 25, 30 degrees to the right. Just swivel your head to the right, and all of a sudden it will bring the left eye in line with the sights when you're using your right hand to hold a handgun. But that's it. Just start him off shooting left-handed on long guns, whether it's BB guns, cap guns, anything. It's just they always go to the left shoulder, and he'll never know the difference, and you will have set him up for a lifetime of shooting success.
Good. That's great news. I don't find I am cross-dominant. I don't find I struggle with it now. I never even knew it until I'd gone through the whole Marine Corps and everything, and I didn't even know it until I was doing some law enforcement training and realized in class they did a little trick, and I realized, you know what? No wonder I always put the laser rangefinder to my left eye, but I always put the rifle to my right eye. Yep,
that exactly it. That's it. Well, that'll work, Dennis. And look, I appreciate you calling because I know there are other people in the same boat. Let's drop down to line 4. Let's get Ray in here from Iowa. Hey, Ray, what you working on here?
Hey, Tom, great show. I always love listening to you. You make me inquisitive when talking about guns. You make me inquisitive instead of reactive when people make comments. So,
okay, how can I help you?
Well, I use reading glasses for anything out to 2 feet, in front of me. So I need I don't know if you call that nearsighted or farsighted, but anyway,
you're nearsighted.
Yeah. And I go down to my range here. I got a little shooting area in the back of the house there, out in the country, and I'm fine on a Acquire net front sight with my reading glasses on, but I'm blurry out at the target.
Okay, are we talking handguns or rifles?
Handgun.
Okay, I got the solution for you. Just stop right there. I got it. Okay, here's what you do. Get your regular shooting glasses, put the reading glasses aside, and there's a thing you can buy for $20. It's called Optics OPTX 2020. OPTX 2020. These are stick-on bifocals, and they're just little plastic things. You can get them at different power, 1.5, 2, 2.5, whatever. What you want is find the one that basically is the same as your reading glasses, but don't stick them on the bottom of your glasses where you would normally put for reading. Stick them on the top part of your glasses and only put them on only one side. So if you're right eye dominant, put it at the top part of your right lens of your shooting glasses. And then when you put your handgun up, all you have to do is roll your head down slightly. That reading glass bifocal will pop in. Your front sight will come into immediate sharp focus. You can fire, but then you can look through the rest of the glasses, and when you don't need it for that distance, it works great. It's called Optics 2020. I have these. I use them. I recommend them. They really... And call me back after you try it. You're going to love it. All right, you only have a couple of days left to participate in the Timney Trigger giveaway. This is your last week to enter. You go to guntalk.com/win, WIN. Grand prize winner is going to get a $750 gift certificate to use at timneytriggers.com. And then each week, we're still giving away 10 first prize winners are going to get a Timney Trigger tension scale. That's a trigger pull scale. This is going to end on April the 3rd. So you still have, this is your last week to try it, to get in on this. Just go to guntalk.com/win. Now, you only have 2 days left. 2 days before the GUNTALK 20, the GT20 pistol goes away. You can get in your deposit. Don't have to pay the whole thing right now. Go to Dury's Guns, DURYS, Dury'sGuns.com. At midnight on March 31st, it's over. No more orders are going to be taken. So you can get your deposit in. It's a 10-millimeter SIG P220 with all the features that I spec'd out. I designed it the way I wanted it. Fiber optic sight, adjustable rear sight, single action trigger pull, very thin GT10 material grip. It is just ambidextrous safety. It is gorgeous. It really shoots well. Come Wednesday of this coming week, if you wake up on April Fool's Day, don't be a fool. Don't be the one that says, I can't believe I didn't do this. I could have gotten in on this cool gun that's a limited edition, and I didn't. So there it is. Yeah, woulda, coulda, shoulda. Exactly right. There it is. Let's talk to Alan on line 3 out of Georgia. Hello, Alan.
Hello, sir. How are you?
I am good. I got 2 minutes, so go for it.
I'm former Secret Service agent, was a fire instructor there, and I started a business to do women's weapons courses to get them familiarized with weapons. And I heard the previous comment. It's the first time I've heard the show. I thank you for actually having this type of show. I think it's more needed. However, I do think that what the previous lady said a couple of minutes ago was important, and what you stated. A lot of husbands or fathers will hand their wife or child a gun and a .45 and say, "Hey, shoot this." And sometimes that's not the best thing. They have to be familiarized with whatever weapon and be comfortable with it if they're going to shoot it, or you're going to turn them off, so to speak, from shooting. And that's something we don't need.
You're exactly correct. I mean, we talk about this a lot. The need to start people off correctly, give them some dry fire practice, get them started with a 22 perhaps. Excuse me. Certainly maybe a 9mm. I've got a couple of 9mm semi-autos that I use when I'm teaching people to start shooting. Don't start them off with a heavy kicking gun. Make sure the target is up close so they have success. For heaven's sakes, make sure they're wearing eye and ear protection. And frankly, I would recommend doubling up. Put ear plugs in, those soft foamy plugs in, and then get them some electronic hearing protection, electronic muffs. They're not real expensive, and you can crank that up so they can hear you, even with the muffs on. But then it really cuts out the sound. And I tell you, a lot of what we perceive as recoil is actually noise. We experience that when we shoot a rifle with a suppressor on it. It feels like it kicks less. We're not getting hit with this big blast. Well, as somebody said, hey, it's an explosion right in front of your face. That's not normal. That's not natural. And nobody wants to have an explosion going off 2 feet in front of your face. So suppressors kind of teach us that. So good hearing protection, good eye protection, very important. Excuse me, had a cough there. So it's a great point. I appreciate that. Starting people out correctly, whether they're youngsters or women or anybody else, doesn't matter. The other thing is getting a gun that fits them. If it's a long gun, if it's a short person, whether that's youth or a woman or whatever, don't give them a full-size gun. They can't hold it up. The stock has to be shorter. The gun should be lighter. Match the gun to the shooter, and the shooter will not only do well, but he or she will enjoy it a whole lot more.